Okay, this is why.
Water is unsuspected.
Oh boy.
Wadis.
Oh, yeah.
It's all dry there all the time. It never rains out there. But it does rain in the mountains. A lot, 40 inches a year. And those mountains, they can't handle that water. So it just comes running right off, like off a car. Just, and where does it go? Wadis. And where can it go? You'll have,
The lowest point.
see these people down there? That gives you a sense of scale. Now,
There's no place to go.
it'll rain 40 miles away. You won't have any clue. Because above you, hot, dry, you can't take it anymore. Oh, for a little water. 70 feet of water. Just wash you away. A few years ago, a couple of students from New Jersey, I think, were down like these people in there. Dry day, 70 feet of water. One they never found. By the time you hear it, where are you going to go?
Right. Oh, yeah. How would you get away from it?
You can't get away from it. So,
What's funny is there's more billboards in Vegas that I saw warning you against flash floods.
flash floods.
Like, I'm like, we're in Vegas. You know? There's all these billboards. Watch out for...
Right. And you'd think, well, gosh, if it rained here, it would evaporate before it hit the ground.
Exactly.
Which is true, kind of. I mean, I lived out there. But it's not the water that comes down on you. It's the water that collected up somewhere else and runs at you. That's what it is. Because it's got nowhere to go, and it goes into these. We aren't used to seeing these. I mean, we have one, and it's, a couple, it's big.
Yeah.
And there's always water in it. And it's always raining, so we're used to that. But here, that's the only place it can go, and it goes a lot. And it goes all at once. And what do sheep need? So you might be tempted, if it's been a while, to take some sheep down in there. Wipe them out. Dangerous. So, we all have things that tempt us, and you thought, well, it's not the rainy season after all. It normally doesn't happen. We'll just go in for a quick drink. Then they get wiped away. Now, after there is a rainy season, so this is a kind of a known thing, and then it's not rainy anymore, and the water all runs away and dries up. Now, in the curves, because it's washing all this limestone, sand, all this sand, you'll get pockets of this beautiful, pure, the most pure sand you ever saw, left behind.
You mean down at the bottom?
Down at the bottom.
Okay.
After the water's gone, it'll carry in and it'll pile up all this beautiful sand, and then you dry and you'll see the sand. And of course up here it's all rock. Listen to this story now. Yeshua. Therefore everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them will be like the sensible man who built his house on rock. Rain came, floods rose, the gales blew and hurled themselves against that house, and it did not fall because it was founded on rock. But everyone who listens to these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a stupid man who built his house on sand. Building on sand normally is good. It compacts nice, it's good drainage. You want to build on sand. If you're building a brick walkway or whatever, the first thing you do is go get sand so you can lay it, it's nice and flat. And it doesn't change, it stays where you put it. So why would that be bad? That's why it's bad. That's what he's talking about, and everybody's like, oh yeah, build his house on the sand. What are you, crazy? You don't even want to be down there. Built your house on the sand, what are you?
Yeah, but wait. I need to ask. So, what from the text gives you the inference that it's in the wadi that they're talking about the sand?
Because if you built on sand anywhere else, that would be good. You wouldn't be a stupid man.
So,
Plus, the whole place is sand. What are you going to build on if not sand?
so he's got to be talking about the sand that's down in the wadi.
I ask you.
Okay.
You got all these cities out there in the desert. I mean, there's cities that aren't in the desert, but you got all these cities built out in the desert, and what are they built on? Sand. And that's fine. So you can't...
sand for the sky down here.
What's that?
That mountain they built right down here in our field, it was sand, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, see?
that they built it on.
It's good.
And I thought, how retarded.
Oh,
Why
wow.
are they building on sand?
Right. But it's good to build on sand. But if you just take this as building on sand, Jesus said that was dumb. That is dumb.
What's the reference?
Matthew 7:24 through 27. So, once again, after the water's gone in the curves, you'll have some sand, but in other places, it'll leave behind this thick, miry clay. And when I lived in the desert, our yard was full of it. We called it caliche, this clay that's like a brick that hasn't been fired. And if you wanted, one time we wanted to plant some trees, and so we had to dig some holes for the trees and, dig a trench for where we were going to put the irrigation pipe. And I'm telling you, we soaked that ground for days and days just to be able to get a shovel to go partway in. And then when you break the handle off the shovel trying to move, the stuff is so sticky, it's unbelievable. You get your foot in it and you just lost your shoe. I mean, it's sticky. And that's what'll be down in there. Here's David. He pulled me up out of the miry chasm, the slimy clay, and set my feet on the rock.
And you'd be tempted to dwell there, to build there, because of water?
Well, you might. I don't think he's suggesting that people normally build in wadis. I think he's just talking about an extreme example of people who are not smart enough to listen to his words. Because what does he say? Everyone who listens to these words of mine, you heard it and made a choice not to listen to me. That is like a stupid man who built his house down there. Anyone would know. What? Oh, that is a stupid man. That's what he's doing. Not because it was normal, just because it's not normal. You would have to be a stupid man to build your house down there. There's another wadi.
So they're pretty prevalent, man.
They're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. They all have names too. Wadi this, wadi that. There's a big one. And look, the only place anything's growing is where water sometimes goes, a little bit of the trickle that's left after it dries up. And you want to see one of the nice shade trees out in the desert?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Just about enough for your head.
Just like prophet to Nineveh.
Jonah. Exactly right.
Shade.
He grew him up a little shrub just big enough to give him a little shade for his head. And any Bedouin will tell you the head is like a radiator.
Right.
And it's the thing that will lose you the heat the most if you don't wear a hat in the winter, and it's the thing that'll hurt you the most in the heat. And so if all you can find is just enough shade for your head, at least you'll survive. You'll make it. And that's your big shade tree in the desert. There you go, leading up to the Dead Sea. This ends in the Rift Valley. You can see that. They're pretty dramatic.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. All right.